Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zaks Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 19th of June. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is doing kind of what we wanted it to do. I find support at 8,800. In fact, the low today 87.93, so 87 points off and bounced a bit. So still in this range between 88 and let's say 8,900, and looking for this market to head up to the top of that rising trend channel at 90.30 now by the end of next month, giving it a bit of time. Obviously, there's a risk that below 8,800 we head back down to 8,700. Worst case would be that we have to test the 50-day line, currently at 85.57, but at the moment, even with wars and hell breaking out all over the place, 8,700 probably the worst bit thinking of on this market. Maybe on to the DAX, which has had its problems too, in the sense that we're back below the old March resistance, 23,500. We factored in that we'd have to test the 200-day moving average, the 50-day moving average there at 23,000, and we've just bounced above that, which is actually so far a good sign. Still have to factor in that we'll test that and maybe even go down to the top of that April-May gap there around 22,800. On the upside, an end-of-day close of about 23,500 is required to give us a top-of-channel target towards 24,800 by the end of next month. Moving on to the Dow, and here see that we're still stuck at the bottom of that rising trend channel from May last year, 42,000, the nominal support area. Above that, looking for a break of 43,000, take us to 44,000, hopefully by the end of next month. In terms of the downside, the 50-day line there at 41,300, potential support or rug pull destination. Moving on to Bitcoin, which should already be in the stars, given all the companies buying Bitcoin for their treasury at the moment. But here we're just bouncing off the 50-day line for the third time in recent past. It's a good look at the moment, given that we have the rising 50-day line and expecting that while we're above that to head back to 112,000. Best case is that we go up to the top of the channel at 124,000 by the end of next month. I can almost draw in a resistance line to break around 109 for this market, and then we should be on our way. The only thing missing at the moment is that the RSI is below 50 at 48, and therefore a slight negative bias on this market. Moving on to gold, which has had various issues with the 3,400 level and continues to do so. Had a bull trap through that, so still waiting for an end-of-day close above 3,400 to give us a route to 3,800 by the end of next month. On the downside, the 50-day line there now at 33.08 is potential support if we do break down, but still hoping that we'll stay within this rising trend channel one way or the other, depending, of course, exactly where it is at the moment. Moving on to the stocks, and most of it's Bitcoin treasury stuff at the moment, as you might expect, and obviously after 3 years in the doghouse, people trading the market are actually making some money. Here we've got Anemoi breaking through the main resistance there from 2022, around 1.8 pence above that. We're looking at the old support there from 2021 at 3 3/4, and as we've seen for most of these predictions in the recent past, they've all either gone right or been even too conservative. So we already had a first target there, 0.9, then 1.2, let's say, and it's obviously blown the doors off on those targets. Bluebird is next, and here it's sort of a Bitcoin pivot, helping it to head to the top of that channel there at 0.8. We've already forecasting or hoping for 1.1 pence by the end of next month, especially while we're above the 200-day moving average at 0.66. On to Coinsilium, one of the stocks of the moment, and here I think we had a crackpot target there at 50 pence, and we're still looking for that resistance line, the red one there, just up to above 50 pence, up to as high as 51 pence, while we're above the old resistance there around the 34 pence level. So let's see if Coinsilium can step up to the plate. Obviously, you can see all the targets that the shares have managed to deliver. I think that the best one actually was the one of the lower ones, where we were looking for 5 pence when the shares were sort of around the 2 to 3 pence area, but obviously that's now ancient history. Moving on to Chesterfield, a nice chart here, mid-move consolidation breakout is what we're looking for. In a range between 0.55 and let's say 0.85. End of day close outside those parameters, we could be going up to 1.1 pence by the end of next month, especially while we're above the 0.7 pence area. On to defence, which after a bit of time has regrouped itself and looking for a turnaround. Always difficult to get exactly the timing on the sort of resumption of a rally, because it can just be a sort of a intermediate rebound and then we fall again. But recent support towards 0.35, above that looking for 0.7, 0.72, which is one of our previous targets on that. Distil is next, and here you can see that we're near to our target there, second target at 0.38. After that, really quite simply looking for the 0.5 pence level, which was resistance on the way down last year. So let's see if we can get to that by the end of next month. New name coming up next from the Aquis market, which has now become the hottest market in town. Hot Rocks, and a hot name as well. And here you can see that we've had the shares with a rising 50-day line, 50 and 200-day lines over recent weeks. And what you can also see is that we're looking for a top of triangle move as high as a penny by the end of next month, and especially while we're above recent, the old resistance there at 0.45, so above 0.45, looking for a penny on Hot Rocks, and actually much more than that, but let's just go for a penny first. Helium Ventures is next, and here see that we've gone ballistic. We had a pie in the sky target of up to 32 pence, which was a bit like saying on Coinsilium above 12 it's going to 30, and that is basically what it's done. We've really got another few pence to get to 32 pence, which was the old 2021 peak, and looking for that to happen over coming days, and especially while we're above the floor of the gap there at 20 pence. Moving on to KEFI, where it was suggested earlier in the week that there is a turnaround in the making, and so far we've had a bit of a turnaround in the making. We've bounced off the floor of that rising trend channel, and price action today looking as though we overshot to the downside below 0.5. Still looking for 0.6 pence maybe over the next week or two, which was the old late May, early June resistance. Moving along to Metals 1, and here the idea that we were going to get back to that line seemed to be a correct one, because we've just done it, which is always nice. Above 20 pence, looking for the 50-day line, 27 pence, hopefully over the next week. So shares basically rebounding quite well on that situation. Upside value, at least while we're above the 16 pence level, which was previous support. Moving on to quantum blockchain, and here the shares doing what they were hinting at doing, which was breaking out of that triangle, and we already sort of saw it, I think, a little while ago, a few days ago. Current situation is that there's a gap to fill up to 1.6 pence. That's what we're looking for by the end of next month, while we're above recent resistance of 0.88. On to the stock of the year, and it is the stock of the year in terms of performance. It's actually going for the top of that channel, which we were looking for, £4.70, and hoping for that in coming days, especially while we're above the £4 area. So that's probably the tightest we can sort of say on that situation. The shares open at 4.15 today, so looking for £4.60 or 70 while we're above the £4 level. On to the last two. First one is Vault, and here you can see a nice consolidation, mid-move consolidation. Looks like we're in the run-up to a golden cross, and looking for the shares to hit 0.15, which was a very optimistic target, and still is an optimistic target, but it looks as though it is a doable target. The only thing to wait for, perhaps, is an end-of-day close through recent resistance at 0.06. Above that, then we are looking for the 0.15 on the basis there's nothing between 0.06 and 0.15 on the chart. Finishing off with TAP, which is finally looks as though it's going to have its day, ironically going away from Aquis, which is the hot market at the moment, and we were looking for the shares to get 3.5 pence, hopefully by the end of this month. And in fact, if they do that, then we do have another target on our way, which would be up to 7 or 8 pence, hopefully by the end of next month, if everything goes well, if it joins the Bitcoin fever bandwagon. But at least in the near term, 3.5, and then the bigger picture target, 7 pence. And that's valid while we hold above the 2.2 pence level, which is the floor of the February gap. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.